help it if you insist. Okay, one more. All right. Thank you all. It's great to be back in the Buckeye State and here in Allen County in the great city of Lima. You know, in this job, you get to meet some important people, heads of state, prime ministers, premiers, kings, and queens. But I've always said that the best part of this job is remembering that George Bush and I are working for you and nobody else. So I just thought that I'd drop by today so you could hear a report from your two hired hands in Washington. In 4 years here, the unemployment rate in Lima has fallen 4.5 percentage points. And you know, if you'll help me send a message to some Washington politicians this November, we'll get that rate down even further. You've done a great job here in Lima. You've got agriculture, you've got basic industry, you've got some of the new industries that are opening up. You're helping keep our defenses strong by building the M1 tank at the General Dynamics plant. You've got a refinery, a chemical company, the list keeps going. You're all the things a growing America is all about. We're now 3.5 weeks from Election Day, and the American people are getting the full flavor of the very clear choice that faces them. It's a choice between two fundamentally different ways of governing America and two distinct ways of looking at America. My opponent, Mr. Mondale, offers a future of pessimism, fear, and limits compared to ours of hope, confidence, and growth. Now, I don't fault his intentions. I know he sincerely means it and feels that way. He sees government, as some others do, as an end in itself. And we see government as something belonging to the people and only a junior partner in our lives. They see people merely as members of groups, special interests to be coddled and catered to. But we look at them as individuals to be fulfilled through their own freedom and creativity. My opponent and his allies live in the past. They're celebrating the old and failed policies of an era that has passed them by. And if history had skipped over, as if history, I should say, had skipped over these Carter-Mondale years. On the other hand, millions of Americans join us in boldly charting a new course for the future. From the beginning, their campaign has lived on promises. Indeed, Mr. Mondale boasts that America is nothing if it isn't promises. Well, the American people don't want promises, I don't think. They don't want to pay for his promises. They want promise. They want opportunity and workable answers. And it's fitting that we're campaigning today on Harry Truman's train, following the same route that he took 36 years and 1 day ago. He happened to be the last Democrat I voted for. And I campaigned for him in 1948. I respected his ability to stand for what he believes, his consistency of principles, and his determination to do the right thing. Mr. Truman could also make very plain the differences between himself and his opponent. And my friends, that's just what we're going to do today. Let's start with the record. The record of an administration in which Mr. Mondale carried a full partnership. Mr. Carter himself said that there wasn't a single decision I made during 4 years in the White House that Fritz Mondale wasn't involved in. Well, in those 4 years, they took the strongest economy in the world and pushed it to the brink of collapse. They created a calamity of such proportions that we're still suffering the consequences of those economic time bombs. There was no fresh-faced, well-fed baby lying on our doorstep on January 20th of 1981. It was a snarling economic wolf with sharp teeth. The suffering of America, the deep and painful recession, and the outrageous and frightening inflation. These things didn't start by accidental ignition or spontaneous combustion. They came about through the complete mismanagement of the administration of which Mr. Mondale was a part and his liberal friends who controlled the Congress. They gave us 5, count them, just in a little more than a year. As everything was going to pot, they gave us 5 different anti-inflation plans. And at the same time with them managed to give us the worst 4-year record of inflation in nearly 40 years. Now while it took them 5 plans to nearly triple inflation, it's only taken us 1 to cut it by about 2/3. Senior citizens were driven into panic by higher rents, exorbitant fuel costs, dramatically increasing food costs, and federal health care costs, which went up a massive 87% in those 4 years. And they called that fairness. They punished the poor, and the young who struggled as prices of necessity shot up faster than others. Millions of Americans led a life of daily economic terror, fueled by those unrelenting costs. Let's look at interest rates. My opponent has referred to something that he calls now the real interest rates. Well, people don't pay interest rates on some academic smokescreen or foggy economic theory. What they know is that when Jerry Ford left office, the prime interest rate was 6.25%. And when Mr. Mondale left office, it was 21.5%. That was the highest interest rate in 120 years. Average monthly mortgage payments more than doubled. Young people couldn't buy homes. Car loans were hard to get and expensive. The automobile and home building industries were brought to their knees. It's little wonder that the American people yearned for leadership in 1980. And after all this economic punishment, our opponents blamed you because you lived too well. They told you you had to sacrifice more, that we were in an age of limits now. Well, I found out that it's not so much that our opponents have a poor memory of their ruinous past, it's just that they have an awfully good forgetter.